Hello, welcome to the 190 Q&A practice. We're going to start off with some Q&A and the plaintiff will be questioning and the subject is personal injury. Okay, ready? Will you please state your name for the record? My name is Richard Farrell. What is your trade or profession? I am an underwater welder. Do you know the claimant in this case? That is right, I do. For how long have you known him? I would say that I have known him for about 5 years, something like that. Did you ever work with him? I worked with him at the Watkins Water Iron Works. Is that located here in the city? Yes, that is right. Did you sign up a contract of employment with the Stonebreakers Company Incorporated at the same time the claimant did? That is right, the same time. Now, pursuant to entering into that employment, did you go with a group of men that went to Fisher Island? That is right, Fisher Island. You two men went together to that place of employment? We worked for the same employer, yes. Was a part of that journey on a ship? 8 days. What was the name of that boat? I don't remember the name, but I can look it up and let you have that if you need it. Can you recall when you left on this trip? It was in 2006, June. After you got to your place of destination, did you and the claimant work together? Yes, we did. Did you work with him on June 24, 2006? Yes. Do you recall an occasion, Mr. Farrell, that the claimant was called upon to repair a cook stove to be installed in the mess hall for the use of the men at that place of employment? Well, we fixed the stove for them because theirs wasn't working. Did you help him in fixing that stove? That is right. I welded the parts together. He planned it, laid it out, and I welded it together. As a part of the construction of the stove, were you asked or did you go to a lower deck on the boat and look for materials and parts for the stove? That is right. And were you with the claimant at the time? Yes. In other words, you went down to the lower deck together? That is right. Will you please tell us your purpose in going down there? Certainly, we went down there to get steel to fix the stove. We had to get some parts. It was sheet steel. We got it down in the hold of the ship, the back end. What happened to the claimant at the time you were down there looking for the steel? Well, at that particular time, I don't think anything happened to him. He got hurt when we were going to the mess hall with the steel. Can you tell us just how that injury that you just referred to took place? There was a pipe there, the way it was built. A man couldn't walk under it, not straight up. We were carrying the metal or the material through, and he hit his head, walked right into the pipe, not exactly right into it. He tried to duck under the pipe. He came up and hit himself. He came up underneath the pipe and bumped his head. I walked right behind him. This was in full sight of your vision? That is right. Do you mean to say he raised with his head and struck the pipe? He tried to dodge the pipe. The pipe, I would say, was about 5 or 6 inches too low for an ordinary man to walk under. He tried to duck under it and came up too quickly and slammed himself on the pipe. As it appeared to you, would you say it was an ordinary blow or otherwise? I would say pretty hard. He complained of being dizzy and didn't feel very good when we were around trying to fix the stove. Immediately after he struck the pipe, how did he act or how did it affect him? Well, he was sort of dazed like anyone hit with a blow. Did he say anything in that dazed condition or right afterwards? Something to the effect that it nearly floored him, something like that. Do you know if he was unconscious? No, he wasn't. He was just in a dazed condition. Did you continue working, or rather, did he continue working with you in the construction of that stove? Yes, he did. He went on the job on the barge, and they brought him back in a very sick condition about 2 days later. Did you see him when they brought him back on the barge? Brought him back to the ship that was stationed there? Yes, I did. He was in the boat's hospital for about 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. Did you talk to him on any occasion when you were around the ship's hospital? I went to see him once while he was there. Went once. Did he make any complaints to you about anything when you went to visit him? He said he hadn't felt good since the time he hit his head. He also said he was having trouble with his ear, that it had gone haywire. Did you notice anything about his ear? No, I didn't see anything, only that he had cotton in it. Did he make any other complaints to you? Only that he didn't feel well. Did he say anything about experiencing any pain anywhere? Yes, he said he had headaches. Anything else? Dizzy spells. He said he felt dizzy most of the time. How long after you arrived there with him was he returned home? I would say about a month. Did you see him at the time he left or at about that time? Yes, I did. Did you have any talk with him on that occasion? He said that he was going home, that he was sick and he wanted to go home. Did he say anything further about his condition or about the nature of his sickness? Well, his illness complaints were about his head and his ear. Did he ever make similar complaints about his head or his ear before you men started the trip to reach your place of employment or before he struck his head? No, he did not. As far as you know, he didn't have any injury of any kind at the time he left for your destination? No. You didn't observe any? No. Tell us if you made the return trip with him. No, sir, I didn't return from that welding job for almost 10 months. When was the first time you saw him after your return? It must have been about 5 weeks ago when I first saw him. I am not too sure of my memory on that. Okay, I will switch transcripts. This is going to be plaintiff attorney. Do you have any way of telling whether or not the defendant actually remembered but was telling you a story different than his remembrance? There is no way to definitely tell, no. So you get the information from the defendant. If there is a possibility of verifying it, you would utilize the possibility to verify the information. Is that correct? Within reason of your time and within reason, yes. Now, doctor, I noticed in your report that you indicated, and you have given us some of the same language, that the defendant probably was unable to understand or fully comprehend the nature and quality of his act. Now, you used the word probably unable. Is that correct? Yes. You are uncertain in this area, are you not? I don't think anybody can make a very definite statement as to what exactly a person was thinking at a certain time, months back when he was intoxicated. This is all probability. You realize the test, doctor, is not fully. It is not a test that deals with the diminishment of knowing right and wrong. A person has to be unable to know right and wrong. Do you understand that? Yes. Now, your feeling, I gather, is that as a doctor, you get the information from the defendant. You take the information he gives to you. You are unable to put the instant replay of the television camera on in the back of his mind to see if he is telling you the truth or has any remembrance. Is that correct? That is correct. Now, at the time the defendant was firing into the house, you are not able to determine whether or not he knew he had a gun and he had loaded the weapon and that he was firing a gun into a building? I don't believe so, yes. Now, he has indicated to you that he was fleeing from this greenish-gray devil and that he had apparently run home. Is that right? Yes. Now, the fact that he could recognize police officers out there, would that be a fact that you would consider to show some awareness that there were police officers other than a devil? It was certainly taken into consideration, and as I indicated, consistent with this peculiar type of episode whereby one can still pick up another fact and respond to them appropriately. I would guess he could have driven his car home had he thought about it and not gotten into any serious trouble. They are able to pick up additional information and respond appropriately. Again, they are responding also to the hallucinations. Now, if in the course of the ensuing gun battle, the defendant fires a weapon at the police officers, and when a light is shined in his direction, now the gun battle ceases to be unusual. In other words, the defendant now is in an exposed situation. When he surrenders, if he does surrender, he raises his hands and throws down his gun. at that time, was it your impression that he was surrendering to the devil? No, I think he was able to suddenly comprehend what was happening and again respond appropriately to his situation. When he fired into the house, do you understand that to be the beginning sequence, the firing into the house? Yes. And a woman calls the police? Yes. When he fired into the house and then he saw the officer and escapes in the bushes, etc., it is very possible that upon discharging the weapon into the house and the arrival of the police, that at that particular time in his mind, he was trying to get away or to get out of a situation. I don't think you can separate anger from fear. It's like a cornered animal. He was running and fighting back, and he was in a panic situation, you felt? I felt that way. A major factor, yes. He was running, fighting back, and he was not trying to get away. One also could assume that he probably was trying to escape from something. Doctor, just getting back to the emergency room in the hospital, you have indicated something to the effect that when a person is down in the hospital, that he is under close observation. That is right. Okay, that concludes our 190 Q&A practice. Have a great day.